In Hollywood, many actors dream of breaking into the top, to become a big star and get $20 million for each role. And some manage to do it. But most actors end their careers without ever making it to the top. But there are a few actors who never aspired to get to the first place. They almost never played major roles. But despite this, everyone loves them, and their supporting characters always have a place in the hearts of the audience. I want to talk about a few of these bright actors today. Let's start with one of the most active Hollywood actors of our time, who, by his own admission, almost never rejects the roles offered to him, considering each of them as a new experience. Over the last decades he has appeared in around 5 films a year. During his career he has portrayed over 200 characters on screen. Christopher Walken's career began epically. He first appeared on the screen in the legendary series Guiding Light. This series is listed in the Guinness Book as the longest TV series. Over the 57 years of the series' existence, 18,262 episodes were produced. Walken, of course, did not immediately become a star. He often appeared in television movies and TV series, and in big movies he played roles in The Fifth Plan. Walken got his first major role in the 1972 TV movie The Happiness Cage, which was filmed in Denmark. The film received average reviews and did not give Christopher any significant bonuses, but Walken began to get more flashes in films with theatrical distribution and less often appeared on TV. The real breakthrough for the actor was the film Michael Cimino's Deer Hunter, released in 1978. In those years, the theme of the Vietnam War rarely raised in the movies. No one wanted to remember the painful chapter in the country's history. But apparently it had to be done, and Deer Hunter became a big hit. The film received 9 Academy Award nominations and won 5, including for Best Picture and Best Director. Christopher Walken won his statuette for Best Supporting Actor. The Deer Hunter was also a box office success, grossing $49 million on a budget of $15 million. Thanks to this success, Walken got the lead role in another military film, The Dogs of War, and Michael Cimino was immediately named the most talented director in Hollywood and given free rein to work on his next film. And while Deer Hunter was the major film of the year, Heaven's Gate was the major failure of the decade. Problems on the set of the film began from the first day. Cimino, being a perfectionist, did dozens of takes of every scene. There were stories of how he repeatedly and for no apparent reason rearranged the decorations and invested in expensive equipment. The cost of the project soared to the astronomical sum of $40 million at the time. In our day it would be $120 million. Also amidst the enormous waste was a scandal. Someone at United Artists drew attention to the fact that it was very expensive to rent the land where the filming took place. Inspection revealed that Michael Cimino himself owned the land. The film was a failure both at the box office and in the eyes of film critics. Heaven's Gate managed to gross $3 million at the box office. It nearly ruined United Artists, which was soon absorbed by MGM. The film ended Cimino's career as a director and dealt a crushing blow to the actors. Chris Christopherson and Christopher Walken went from rising stars to box office bombs. So, Michael Cimino made Christopher Walken a rising star with one of his films, and almost destroyed his career with his next film. David Cronenberg's The Dead Zone saved Walken's career. In those years Stephen King was at the height of popularity in Hollywood, thanks to the success of Carrie and Shining. Although Dead Zone barely made it off its budget, the film received positive reviews from critics and audiences. Thanks to the charismatic look, Walken begins to receive offers to play villains and hooligans. Christopher was invited to play the role of the main villain in the Bondiana. His Max Zorin confronted James Bond, played by Roger Moore in the movie A View to a Kill. Walker will play impressive and memorable villains in King of New York and Batman Returns. In '90 Walken had a few major roles, but they were either small television movies or movies that came out directly on video. But Walken understood his strengths and was happy to sign on for supporting roles, where he gave us a huge number of memorable characters. These include Captain Coons in Pulp Fiction, telling a gripping story about the Watch and the creepy Hessian horseman in Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow and the charming rogue in Catch Me If You Can, for which Walken received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Walken will remain a supporting actor, occasionally getting into the lead role, but he's never been frustrated or upset by it. He himself says it's just a job that brings him joy and meaning to life. Now the actor is 79 years old, and he continues to actively shoot this and small series on streaming and the role of the Emperor in the upcoming sequel to Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Steve Buscemi's career is very similar to that of Christopher Walken. He has starred in more than 100 films, but mostly played in supporting roles. But this did not prevent Buscemi from becoming a memorable and famous actor. Steve became interested in acting in school. During his studies in college, he enters the student theater group, in which he not only plays on stage, but also acts as a director of some performances. Buscemi made his film debut in 1985 in The Way It Is, but, according to Steve, the actor's career began with the picture Parting Glances, in which he played a rock musician dying of AIDS. That film was followed by a succession of supporting and even third-rate roles in small films. But his memorable looks and individual acting style, combining eccentricity and emotionality, did the job. Steve became a favorite of independent film directors. One such director would be Jim Jarmusch, who invited Buscemi to his short film Coffee and Cigarettes. Later, Buscemi and Jarmusch would work together on the films Mystery Train and The Dead Don't Die. And in 1990, another fateful encounter between Steve Buscemi and the Coen brothers takes place on Miller's Crossing. Buscemi auditioned for this film twice, and it was his insistence convinced the Coen brothers to sign him. Steve had a small role, but he was able to make his character memorable and appealed to audiences and directors alike. Together they would work on 4 other films, including the iconic Big Lebowski and Fargo, in which Steve would get more prominent roles. But that would be later, and in 1991 Steve appeared in another cult film, Reservoir Dogs. Buscemi got into this movie by accident. Quentin Tarantino during the casting was looking through the records of auditions for various actors. He could not find a candidate for the role of Mr. Orange, while he did not come across the record with Steve Buscemi. Tarantino himself recalls that on this tape Buscemi looked like a typical criminal. Buscemi had a sickly look, an old-fashioned fancy silk shirt and neatly slicked back hair. Steve, on the other hand, after reading the script, decided that the role of Mr. Pink was just for him. It was a little surprising for Tarantino, because he had planned to offer Steve the role of Mr. Orange or Eddie, and he intended the role of Mr. Pink for himself. But after talking to Buscemi, he changed his mind, and he probably didn't go wrong. Later, Tarantino offered to his friend Robert Rodriguez to invite Buscemi in the movie Desperado. Rodriguez also remained impressed with the work with Steve Buscemi and later will call him in 2 parts of The Spy Kids. Such friendships have a positive impact on Buscemi's acting career, and in 1993 will happen another important acquaintance in the actor's life. On the set of the movie 20 Bucks, Steve befriended Brendan Fraser, who invited him to his next project, Airheads. The film was mediocre at the box office, but has gained a real cult status among audiences. Most importantly for us, the film brought Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler together. Despite the fact that Sandler was never the critics' favorite and gravitated all the golden raspberries he could reach, Buscemi will star in all of Sandler's films, sometimes in quite episodic roles. In the 90s, Buscemi not only acted in movies but also directed. In 1992, the short film What Happened to Pete was released, and in 1996 its full-length sequel Trees Lounge. The film was not a big success, but it was warmly received by the critics, and after its release on video it gained popularity. The most famous Buscemi's directorial work is Animal Factory, released in 2000. The film tells of the unusual friendship between a prison authority and a young man in jail. The film was sent to DVD almost immediately, but it got great reviews from critics. Everyone loved the acting duo of William Dafoe and Edward Furlong. In movie also appeared Mickey Rourke in an unusual role. Buscemi continued to embody the colorful characters on the screen in the background and took part in the voicing of cartoons, until in 2010 he received, perhaps the most important and highly acclaimed role in his career. The series Boardwalk Empire, in which Steve got the lead role, was released. The series was launched by Martin Scorsese. The show lasted on the channel for 5 years, and each year the series has received various prestigious awards. Steve Buscemi also won a Golden Globe for his role in it. Despite the great reviews, Boardwalk Empire lost popularity each year, and due to sharply falling views, the show was not renewed for a 6th season. Like Christopher Walken, Steve Buscemi continues to play bright supporting characters without aspiring to get the lead role. In recent years, the actor has appeared on screen less frequently. He often takes part in the voicing of cartoons, and of more or less major projects. He can be seen in the series Miracle Workers, where he played the role of God. Alfred Molina is another bright actor, who has made his way into the background in the role of Scoundrels and Rascals. And it is not surprising. Even his way in the big cinema, Molina began with the role of a sleazy guide of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Though his role was small, the film's stunning success launched Molina's career as well. In the second half of the 80s, Alfred was filmed in both the United States and England. And if the U.S. career of an actor slowed, and Molina was mainly received insignificant roles in the TV series. In England, he appeared in successful independent films. The films, Letter to Brezhnev and Prick Up Your Ears, received excellent reviews from critics and take awards at prestigious film festivals. But Molina would not give up trying to break into Hollywood, and in 1994 he landed a small role in Maverick with Mel Gibson, and in 1995 released the cult film Dead Man by Jim Jarmusch. Molina was equally successful in getting roles in major Hollywood projects and small independent films. In 1997, Alfred will get a role in the film by Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights. The film is known for launching the acting career of the talented rapper Marky Mark. The real fame would come to Molina in the '90s. In 2002, the film Frida was released, where Molina played the role of the Spanish artist Diego Rivera, Frida Kahlo's husband, who was played by Salma Hayek. The film won a number of prestigious awards and nominations, including an Oscar. And even though the praise was mostly for Hayek, Molina received a Screen Actors Guild nomination for Best Supporting Actor. This made him a more prominent actor, and next year Molina will get the role of Dr. Otto Octavius in the Spider-Man sequel. His villain appealed to audiences so much that Alfred received a Saturn Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor and a Best Villain nomination from MTV. And his appearance in the trailer for Spider-Man: No Way Home would be one of the locomotives in promoting the film on social media. But the actor's career has had successes as well as failures. In 2010, under the watchful eye of Jerry Bruckheimer, at once will be released 2 films, Prince of Persia and The Sorcerer's Apprentice. In Prince of Persia, Molina played the role of a charming scoundrel and part organizer of ostrich races Sheikh Amar. Alfred improvised a lot during the filming, and the scene in which he kisses his beloved ostrich on the neck was a complete improvisation. The actor himself says that he was convinced that either the bird peck his eye, or we get a very funny episode. Fortunately, there were no injuries. Despite Molina's best efforts, the film performed poorly at the box office and barely managed to recoup its budget. But The Sorcerer's Apprentice has already proven to be a huge flop. I already talking about this film in one of my videos. On a budget of $150 million, it grossed $215 million, making it one of the biggest flops of the year. The Sorcerer's Apprentice finally buried Nicolas Cage's career and dealt a blow to producer Jerry Bruckheimer. Usually big failures don't hit the careers of supporting actors hard, but this time it hit everyone. Barring a return in Spider-Man, Molina won't get any more offers from major Hollywood studios. He will do a lot of acting, but mostly in smaller films and TV series, and increasingly doing voiceovers for cartoons. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and stay in touch.